transition to a new administration gathering steam. France 24's reporter Clovis Casali spent weeks travelling across the US reporting on the election campaign. Miami, Detroit, Atlanta, Washington, D.C. He joins us now for a bit of a take on some of the impressions he got and some of the people he met. Thanks for talking to us, Clovis. You spent a lot of time, first of all, at pro-Trump rallies. What do they make of it all?
Well, basically, disappointment, anger and defiance is the best way to describe those words, summarize the best the mood among the Trump supporters. Of course, out of the 70 or so million people who voted for Donald Trump, not everybody agreed with his strategy when President Biden was announced the winner. But you did have diehard supporters take to the streets. We witnessed that notably in Detroit and in Atlanta. They all said that this was a rigged election, that democracy was in peril. And when we went to talk to them, they all said also, a lot of them at least, had these conspiracy theories, some saying that the Chinese, the Russians had manipulated the ballot with technology. And also, you had very different types of voters, whether in Miami or Detroit or Atlanta, for instance. In Miami, in Florida, which is a Republican stronghold, a bastion, we met a lot of Cuban Americans or people from South America who really feared that Joe Biden represented socialism. In Detroit, we met with voters who were very keen to support Donald Trump because they said he was the only one who was against abortion, who was the only one who was behind religion and supporting their views. So we really did have a kind of a clear picture of who was behind Donald Trump. Once again, not all of the people who contested the results were, not all of Donald Trump's supporters contested the results, but you did have a fair amount of people on the streets.
Fair amount of people on the streets, Clovis. We also saw kind of face-offs between the rival camps. Did you ever get the impression, the fear that things will get out of control?
At some point, we did fear that. Before coming to the United States, we knew there was a high level of animosity between both sides, but we really didn't expect that level of hatred between pro-Biden and pro-Trump supporters. And as soon as the results came in Florida, it was rather calm, of course, because Donald Trump was declared pretty quickly the winner of Florida, that Republican bastion, so his supporters were happy. But then we quickly moved to Michigan, to Detroit, and there I can tell you we ran into some very angry Trump supporters. And then we were in Atlanta when it was announced that President Biden had won. And there we witnessed high animosity with one street separated into two. On the one hand, you had pro-Biden supporters. On the other hand, you had pro-Trump supporters who were contesting the results. And very, very quickly, we also saw armed groups coming on both sides, it has to be said. Armed men. We're talking Kalashnikov rifles. We're talking bulletproof jackets on both sides. Some going to see with the Biden supporters, others with the Trump supporters. And when we went to talk to those groups, they told us that they were simply there to ensure that the situation remained calm and peaceful. And for Europeans like us, people who live in France, it was very surprising to see so many arms on the streets. Take a look at this report. It was filmed in Atlanta.
All day, pro-Trump supporters have been face-to-face with pro-Biden ones. Behind me, supporters of the president-elect. And on my left here, you have diehard supporters of Donald Trump. Both sides have armed men who are here to make sure that the situation remains calm and peaceful. That's what they say, but armed men nevertheless. Earlier, we spoke to some Trump supporters, particularly disappointed by the situation, who say that their man hasn't lost and they won't give up the fight. Take a listen.
As it stands, we need an audit of the ballots that have been turned in. We need some more investigation into what happened. I'm worried that if we don't take a stand right now for President Trump, then we will have a problem in the future.
The socialists will take over. This is America.
Republicans and the conservatives, we were kept silent, but we're not being silent anymore. And you know, we're not being silent anymore. And so it's okay for Antifa and Black Lives Matter to say all the things they want, but you don't see conservatives burning down cities. How come they don't talk about that?
Get an idea of some of the divisions and tensions there, Clovis. Donald Trump, of course, spent quite a lot of his presidency going after the media, going after journalists. How were you treated as a journalist?
Well, when we met Trump supporters, they seemed delighted to see that we weren't from the US. But then quickly they asked us, how do you find the situation? Do you like Donald Trump? There's really a sense of belonging in those groups. And they asked us also, for some of them, do you like Marine Le Pen as much as we do? Marine Le Pen being the leader of the French far right here in France. And then we attended one of the last Trump rallies in Miami just before Election Day. And one image that will stay with me is when Donald Trump said, pointing at the pit of journalists, look, so many journalists have turned up, and of course they will be covering us unfavorably. And then you had thousands of Republicans, of Trump supporters turning to us and shouting abuse and insults. And it's never a good sign when the people turn against the media in a free country like the US.
Clovis Casali, thanks for joining us and sharing your experiences out on the road there.